Welcome, everyone, to another edition of News and Views. And don't we have a special story for you? Okay, my name is Elmira. I am your host. A couple of months ago, I got an African dwarf frog. You might be like, where you get a frog? The frog has always been my spirit animal because it's all about transformation, jumping, being able to survive in all kinds of situations. Is the adaptability, and that's me. I'm the frog. I have faith just like the frog. And about a couple of months ago, in our community group in our neighborhood, one of the residents, the neighbors, posted they have a free frog. It was an African dwarf frog, and I was like, OMG. I've been fascinated and attracted to frogs for years, and here's my opportunity to get the frog. And I knew it was mine because the lady had posted it on a Saturday. Nobody responded. I did not see the post till Monday or Tuesday. I said, I got to get that frog. I got to get that frog. And it led me, y'all know I'm always diving deep, investigating. It led me to research people and exotic pets. And I made a discovery that millennials and Generation Z are actually opting for exotic pets over children. This is so this is so fascinating to me. Even though I'm technically in Generation X, I actually identify more with the millennials and Generation Z. Because sometimes people think I'm younger than what I actually am. And there are so many reasons why this is true. What is the real reason millennials and younger are not having children? So I was like, okay, I got my African dwarf frog. Let me find out what's going on because years ago, my one of my friends, she had a turtle. I remember going to see her when she was living in North Carolina and sleeping next to the turtle. We both are into these animals like this. I got to show you something because the first reason is the rising cost to have a child. You got to see, I got to show y'all something because I got on the AI on Gemini and was looking at how much does it cost to raise a child today compared to the 1980s when I grew up. I was born in 1978. And you always hear it, but what are the specifics? How does this track? How is this adjusted today? I inquired. In 1980s, how much did it cost to raise a child? Approximately 69K to 81,000. So you can say about $80,000. And when you do the adjustment, and you'll see this further in my research, $276,000. But guess how much it actually costs to raise a child from 0 to 18 today? 300K. That is far more than the adjusted rate. What is going on? And you can look at how the numbers actually break down from 1980, 1982, 83. Primary expenses. Housing and food were the largest expenses in the 1980s, consistently taking up the biggest portion of the budget. Now we got so many more things fighting for expenses. Children are using electronics. Children are involved in sports, more technical sports that cost a lot. I can say my youngest niece and nephew, their dad and mom have them in softball and baseball. That's an added cost that was not happening in the 1980s. I'm not saying children did not play sports. The cost is higher because these children today want to compete. It's like they want to compete on an Olympic level, and maybe not the children, but the parents do. The parents are like, no, you're going to be the best, you're going to do the best, you're going to be involved. And there, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just the cost is so much higher. The cost of even sending your child to school, the cost of the clothes, housing, food, basic expenses has risen tremendously. This is why millennials are not having children and they're opting for these exotic pets. I'm like, this is, I don't know. It shocked me a bit. How would this cost be adjusted to 2026? Adjusting the $80,926 to 2026 would be $276,920. But this is the actual cost. Look at this. Breakdown of the adjusted cost. Based on the Consumer Price Index, $1 in 1982 has the purchasing power of roughly $3.42 today. A 2026 study by Lending Tree found that the actual cost to raise a child born today to age 18 is $303,000 to 418. People are saying, "No, I'm gonna give me a turtle. I'm gonna give me a frog. I'm gonna give me a snake. I'm gonna give me." I just saw the Michael Jackson movie over the weekend. Michael was the same way for many years. He said, "I'm gonna get me a chimpanzee, Bubbles. I'm gonna give me." He had I believe it was a boa constrictor. He had a llama. He said, "I'd rather pay for the llama than pay for this $300,000 to raise a child." Modern families spend roughly $16,857 per year per child. Now, think about my mom and my dad, six children. Why the real cost is higher than inflation. One of the fastest growing expenses costing families nearly look at this, $17,000 annually for infant care. Why is child care so expensive? I know it works. But why is it so expensive? Housing remains the largest hidden expense, with school district quality and the need for more space significantly driving up home prices. Yeah, the same home you could get in the 1980s, 1990s for, let's say, 70K is now 400K. My little brother is a real estate agent. This takes into account for raising a child. You know, and grow your family. You have one child, two children, three, four, five, six, six. Like my parents, there were six of us. How do you pay for a house? Is everybody sharing a room? I mean, I shared a room up until I left the house at age 26. Maybe there's not an issue with that, but the cost of the homes, education and health. I was talking about education as part of the extracurricular activities. Look at this. 1,175% more on education. What in the education is piss poor? We had the story on last week about homeschooling. You know what's going on with that. Many parents are not even satisfied with the education. So why are they paying more? Why does it cost more? It doesn't make sense. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. And here's what I say. I told this to somebody else this week because he was complaining about the property tax. I said, just quit. Don't pay it. Sometimes if you don't like it, remove yourself from the system. And you may say, "Oh, Elmira, I can't 100% remove myself from the system." Yes, you can. You can do what you can do. If you don't want your child to be in the public education system where you are funding 1,200% more than 40 years ago, what the heck are you doing? It don't make sense. Like if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And the education ain't making you no dollars. The daycare ain't making you no dollars. So do things another way. Figure out an alternative way because they may call it alternative, but here soon it's going to be the norm because these systems are broken. This is the real reason millennials are opting for the exotic pets. They said it's more normal for me to own a snake now than for me to snake all my money away on some childcare. Because believe you me, most millennials do want children. But when you look at the reality of it, it's like it don't make sense. After all, let me add on to this because it's not just the cost of the children, it's the fact that we've been taught go get your education. So now I've got a 50K student loan hanging over my head, or 100K depending on what level of your education. On top of that, I'm trying to buy me a home, I'm trying to get me a car, I want to get married, I want to do all these life things. I can't pay for it. My wages are not matching what and I'm speaking of the United States, but many nations are like this too. My wages do not match what you want me to pay. Let me say that again. My wages do not match what you want me to pay. So I'm gonna give me an African dwarf frog. That's what I did. I don't have any children yet. I would love to have children, at least one. I opted for the frog because let me tell you, just in the past couple of months, how much did my frog cost? I got the aquarium for free. The lady gave me food. We did spend about $7 on some more food because one of the containers of food, she wasn't really eating. Really wasn't eating. What else? Spent money on spring water because the aquarium requires spring water. We change it about every month and a half to 2 months. Spring water. What else did I get? I mean, the greatest thing I gave is time, making sure she's okay. And this isn't the type of animal I have to watch after. I don't have to walk her. I don't have to clean up the litter tank. Yes, I do have to change the tank, the aquarium, every now and then. But this isn't a consistent thing because I've dog sat before. And when I've watched dogs, I got to care for them. You got to take them on multiple walks a day. People are opting for these exotic pets because they don't require as much funding. Let me add up what I spent. I may have spent $50. Well, we together, me and my boyfriend, may have spent $50 just in 2 months on our frog. Compare that to what were they saying it costs over a lifetime or a year, about 16K. So you do the math. Since I'm talking about the African dwarf frog, I want to show you my frog. I got to show you my frog. I took a video of her when she first arrived. Let me share my screen here. Uh, so you can see the nature of this frog. All I do, she she plays a lot, especially at night. This frog is nocturnal. She does not have a tongue. When it comes to eating, she just uses her mouth, and this particular variety of frog is mainly blind. She can't see her food. She's using all of her other senses, just like us. Think about Stevie Wonder. Granted, he cannot see, but all of his other senses are heightened. That's how Frida is. Check her out in action.
In northern India, not so much. Why? Because that's where you have the biggest influence of missionaries. In fact, the Apostle Thomas, one of the 12 disciples of Jesus, of doing these exercises.
Yeah,
Why?
she'll do
Jesus
this
isn't
thing. You got
in
to
some
keep her
school
in
like they say is
shallow
that
water
children are
because
medicated.
she'll
No one
come to
knows
the
that
top to
works.
breathe.
Really?
And
Have
look
you
at her
been to
legs
Indian
go.
schools?
They are excellent,
They would give their
phenomenal
right
swimmers.
leg, many of those students, to be able to come to a Christian country and study at Christian schools. The best schools in all of India are Christian Catholic schools. Southern India is very well known for being highly
She's so
educated.
funny
Northern
to
India,
me.
not so much. Why? Because that's where you have the biggest influence of missionaries. In fact, the Apostle Thomas, one of the 12 disciples of Jesus, of doing these exercises.
That's Frida. We've made some discoveries about her too because the tank is near the living room where we watch television. She will turn her back to certain people she doesn't like to hear, and then she'll be fully attentive to other people. It could be music, we could be listening to a lecture, a live stream, or something like that. But she's very sensitive. This is the thing about pets in general. They take on your caricature, your personality, because that's how me and Terrence are. We are we are investigators. We like to learn things, and so does she. We also like to have fun. We love music. She is vibing with us. I do want to get another African dwarf frog because they tend to survive better socially. I do. Let me show you this other video because the other video will chronicle how you care for this African dwarf frog. You may want to get one. You may be one of these Generation Z millennials who's like, oh my goodness, this story is hot. I want me an African dwarf frog. Check out how because this is from a pet channel. Check this out.
What's not to love about these little guys? The African dwarf frog has become extremely popular with aquarists. On top of that, they're sold at most pet shops and at economical prices. Whether you're looking to get an African dwarf frog of your own or already own one, we'll cover the general care of the African dwarf frog, I will give you some advice, and we'll get into the aquarium setup required by this frog. This is my aquarium info.
Oh, let me pause there for a second because he's speaking about the aquarium. Most of the things I have in my aquarium were gifted by the previous owner. I did add some rocks to it because one of the things with this frog, you do not want to have a lot of sharp edges. I had to ensure those rocks were rounded and they weren't going to damage her skin. Oh, come on.
African dwarf frogs have lungs, not gills, so they are fully aquatic but still need to obtain the oxygen from the surface of the water. You will usually purchase them at 1 inch in size, but they can reach 2.5 inches in length. The life expectancy of an African dwarf frog is 8 years old. Their natural habitat is very shallow, about 2 feet or 24 inches, so be sure to not keep them in anything taller because it is possible for them to drown. They can also be nocturnal, so expect them to be active and sing at night. African dwarf frogs shed their skin off weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, so if you see this happening, do not be alarmed. The best thing about the African dwarf frogs is that they are non-threatening. In fact, they do not have a tongue or teeth for that matter. My first piece of advice when it comes to caring for your frog would be to use sinking foods. This ensures that the food doesn't get sucked up by the filter or eaten by other fish. Oftentimes these frogs only eat leftovers, and if there aren't any, this can stress your frog out big time. It can even starve them. I'd also recommend smaller fish if you plan on keeping frogs and fish together. If the fish is big enough, it will eat your frog. Also, keep in mind that frogs spend most of their time at the bottom of the aquarium. So try to keep fish that relatively keep to the top of the aquarium, and also remember that they are very social, so keep them in a group.
Oh yeah, I've definitely noticed that about Frida. She likes to stay in hiding places. It's like because the tank has a warmer, a heater. She'll crawl between the crevice or she'll get in between one of the plants. She's just got all these weird hiding places. They like to play dead too. You'll see her like sprawled out, and I'm like, okay, what she's on? Because one day my boyfriend came home from a work trip and he's like running upstairs. Oh my gosh, you gotta check her. She's like not moving. I said she's fine. She's doing this is what she does. She probably is like, hey, he just got back. I'm gonna pull a trick on him. But yeah, this is what they do. It's commonplace. It's not anything abnormal for them.
One last thing, remember to not take them out of the aquarium. They will dry up in a matter of minutes. As far as the setup goes, gravel substrate works best as they can be trapped in between large substrates and accidentally consume very fine substrates. When it comes to water parameters, a pH level of 7 and a temperature in between 75 and 79 degrees should do just fine for your African dwarf frog. African dwarf frogs can be really shy, so make sure you place a piece of driftwood or rock or some sort of decoration for them to hide underneath. I hope I was able to answer some questions in regards to the African dwarf frog. If you have any more questions about anything that has to do with aquariums, please feel free to let me know. I will definitely give you credit if I use your question or comment. Good luck with your African dwarf frog. My name is Gus, and this is my aquarium info.
Well, thank you, Gus, over at my aquarium. Yes, she hides under the rocks, behind the rocks, and the crevices. She's like playing Where's Waldo all the time. It's like, oh, can you find me? Can you catch me? They are some of the most playful animals, and I can say she's added another level of joy, another level of love to our home. For my boyfriend especially, he's always like, well, how is she? How's she doing? I said, you check up on this frog more than you check up on me. I said, all right now, Frida, getting the band ready. It's like, but they add this level of companionship because over the past couple of months, I have noticed the difference within myself too. Just having her in the home, having to take care of someone besides myself. Granted, yes, support my boyfriend, but that's different than having a pet. And this is an easy pet. She doesn't require a lot of stuff. It's not like I can take her out of the tank. You wouldn't even want to take her out of the tank because you can't. You can't handle this frog. You run the risk of getting salmonella or something like that. And plus, it's dangerous for the oils on a human skin to touch their body. I want to show you this as well. This was an article I found from AOL.com. Why Generation Z is choosing exotic pets over parenthood. We outlined a lot of that thus far. I just kind of want you to see how the article reads. This is recent. This is from Always Pets, AOL, April the 7th, just earlier this month. Generation Z is expanding what it means to have a pet. Instead of sticking to dogs and cats, many are choosing reptiles, birds, and other less conventional animals that better match their routines and living situation. These choices often come down to flexibility and how easily a pet fits into everyday life. Yes, my African dwarf frog fits into my life. I'm here at home every day. I don't have to do a lot of stuff, and if my schedule changes, I don't have to shift for a dog, for a cat, or of that type. A study of 1,000 dog owners found that interest in pets is especially strong among younger people, with up to 67% leaning towards pet ownership. I got to ask you, do you have a pet? Do most of the people you know own a pet? From there, some move toward more unconventional options. Once the focus shifts away from traditional parenthood, the kind of pet becomes a more personal choice, and for many, animals that require less time and structure feel like a better fit than both high energy dogs and low term commitments like raising a child. OMG. My landlord back in Nashville. Speaking of high energy dogs, she had a Boston Terrier, Sophie. Every time I would set her, that dog was just, she was just so rambunctious. Plus, she would escape out of the house and just dart and run in the neighborhood. I was not going to chase her because I was like, she'll be back. She'll learn. She'll come back when she's ready. I'm not trying to keep up. I'm not going to chase this dog. I'm not doing it. The money question is hard to ignore. We already tackled that. Generation Z is dealing with student debt, rising rent, and wages that have not kept pace with inflation. Financial experts note that many young adults feel uncertain about long-term stability, which makes a decades-long commitment such as raising a child feel risky. Pets often fall somewhere in the middle. They still require care, but the financial pressure is far lower and more predictable. Y'all heard what I've just spent on my frog only in the past couple of months. There is no daycare bill, no college fund, and no major lifestyle reset tied to career pauses. Oh, look at the lizard. Oh my gosh. Is that an iguana or is that a lizard? Y'all tell me. Lifestyle plays just as big a part as money. Generation Z places a strong focus on flexibility, travel, and personal growth. This is why I say I identify with Generation Z and the millennials more than I do Generation X or my parents, which would be the baby boomers. They are all about stability, tradition. This is so not me. This is all me. Flexibility, travel. How many solo trips have I gone on? How my work schedule has to be flexible. My life has to be flexible. My eating has to be flexible. My personal growth, I'm all about personal growth. Y'all who know me already know I can't be the same today as I was yesterday. Long term commitments that limit mobility tend to get pushed further down the list. Pets, especially unconventional ones, fit into that mindset. A reptile, a bird, a small exotic animal can offer companionship without reshaping daily life in the same way a child would. Oh, I remember one of my childhood friends, Christine, she has a bird. I think she got a bird maybe 2 years ago. I'm remembering all of these people with these exotic animals. She maybe 2 3 years ago, I'm not sure, but yeah, the numbers are growing. People don't just want dogs, cats. They take too much time. They're not as flexible. There is also a change in how relationships are approached. Dating apps have created an environment where people feel less pressure to settle down early. I don't think that's just because of the dating apps. That's definitely one of the factors. I'm in the love education space, so I can speak to this. Without that urgency, timelines for marriage and children naturally stretch the emotional exchange. This is not just about avoiding responsibility, but about choosing a version of it that feels manageable. Pets provide routine, companionship, and a sense of purpose. Yes, my little frog has done that for me. Research consistently shows that they help reduce stress, anxiety, and loneliness. Yes, it is so wonderful, not just with the frog, but because that water is consistently running from the filter in the tank, it's soothing to me. We didn't used to have that ongoing water in the home. It helps with it helps to balance me and I love peace. I'm all about peace and relaxation. That's why I became a massage therapist. At the same time, social media has changed how parenting is perceived. Daily clips and posts show the exhausting side of raising children. I think people just know this from the truth. People are blaming this stuff on social media. No. The younger generations have looked back and said, wait a minute. My mom and dad did this. This what y'all was signing your life over for? Maybe I don't want to sign up for that just yet. It's not because social media is showing you the truth. All you got to do is look at your parents and where they live in their best life, where your grandparents live in their best life. And you start to question and say, I got to do things differently. I can say personally, that was me. I watched my mom work multiple jobs to take care of 6 kids mainly by herself. Why would I want to duplicate that? It didn't make sense. And it also didn't make sense for me to do that without a partner, without a husband. It's like, this is foolish because sometimes people ask me to this day, why don't you have children? You should have had children long ago. Well, how was that going to happen? You expect me to raise these children on this 16K cost a year? And I'm only making this. Yeah, I'm doing well, but was I doing well enough to have the children? Some people may be like, oh, yeah, there's no perfect time to have the child. It's always going to cost. But some stuff ain't don't just make sense. I'll keep saying it. If it don't make sense, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Just saying. They provide a connection without the constant pressure of raising a child. My kids wanted a dog, but I didn't. In the last 18 months, we've adopted four and I couldn't be happier. Oh, that's a different article. But you see what's happening with people. People are choosing, they're choosing to have these pets. It's less care, still get the opportunity for the companionship to reduce your stress and anxiety, live your lifestyle. Because I'll say this, we're going on some trips coming up and we've already started looking at, okay, can we get a portable tank, because we're going to have to take the frog with us. We'll have to either have to take the frog with us or have a frog sitter. This frog can be alone for up to 2 days. I really don't want to leave her alone that long. It's things we have to weigh in our life. That's why people are making a choice. It's what it is. It's a choice. Nobody should be telling you you have to have children. Nobody should also be telling you you got to get a pet. Who's to tell you how to live your life? Maybe you don't want children. Maybe you don't even want a pet. You just want to be solo. You could have, and I'm speaking for myself from a healing perspective. I've been in the company and helped certain clients where their life has been that traumatic. They are just trying to find balance. They're trying to find a measure of peace right now as an adult. They don't even want to add anything else. They can't. They can't bear it. Their mental health, their mental and emotional health can't take it. Watch what you say to people when you're inquiring with them. Why don't you have children? Why do y'all have all these animals? Why don't you want to get married? Why don't you? Because this is the real reason. You saw it in the article, you saw it in the research, and I always like to compare things to the 1980s because that was 40 years ago. It's a good gauge of what we are living today. We got to look to the past, look to the hidden history to comprehend what is going on now, because these conditions did not begin today. Some of it began with the Reagan administration, the Bush administration. That's what the plans are for governmental policies. They are never just for that day. Even policies that are made today in 2026 are setting the precedent for 30, 40, 50, 100 years in the future. And that's what you should be doing as well. You are setting a precedent for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years in the future. And that's why it's your choice. Do you want to leave a legacy of family, or do you want to leave? I'm not saying these are the only options, but this is what a lot of millennials and Generation Z men and women are doing. They're saying, would I rather leave a legacy of family, children, having these children, or would I rather leave a legacy of healing where I spent the time recovering from ancestral wounds? A lot of us are opting for that. I can say that's what I'm opting for. Because what sense does it make to bring a child into a traumatic situation where I'm not a good parent? And this is one of the notes I want to end on, because this is a woman who speaks about, she's a medium, I'll call her, but she clearly speaks on why the current children, the souls coming into the world right now, are choosing older parents. And by older, I mean 40 plus. They want the healed mother, the healed father, the one who is wiser. They don't necessarily want the 22-year-old. It's a new earth. It's new birth. Look out. You've already witnessed this. Look at it in your own life, amongst your friends, colleagues, people you know. They could even be your children. What are they doing? How are their children acting? If somebody had a child after 40, what is that child like? What are they like as parents? Okay, this has been another edition of News and Views. We looked into why millennials and Generation Z are opting for exotic pets over the kiddies, the kiddos, I should say, children. Until next time, my name is Elmira, and we will see you then. Peace.